The worst scientific experiments do not begin with screams. They begin with confidence, a clipboard, a sealed door, a test chamber, a machine that says everything is normal, but one assumption breaks, and in that moment, science stops observing reality, and reality starts observing us. These are real scientific experiments that went horribly wrong. Every experiment in this video began with a question. Can fear be programmed? How close can a nuclear core come to criticality before it crosses the line? Can software safely control radiation? Can humans build a second Earth under glass? Can a reactor survive a blackout test? And can a medical study watch disease unfold without losing its soul? This is not a list of urban legends. This is darker than that, because in each case, the danger was not a monster outside the laboratory. It was the belief that the laboratory had everything under control. Case 1. The baby they taught to fear. In 1920, at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, psychologist John B. Watson and graduate student Rosalie Rayner performed one of the most infamous experiments in psychology. The subject was a baby known to history as Little Albert. At first, Albert was shown a white rat. He was not terrified, he was curious. After that, the researchers began pairing the rat with a sudden violent noise, a hammer striking a steel bar behind him, again and again. Soon, Albert did not need the noise anymore. The rat alone was enough. His fear spread to other soft, white, furry objects, a rabbit, a fur coat, a mask. The experiment was meant to prove that fear could be conditioned in a human child. But today, it reads like a warning written in the margins of science. There was one subject, no real control group, no modern informed consent, and no meaningful attempt to undo the fear that had been created. The experiment did not just ask whether emotion could be programmed, it showed how easily a person could become the equipment. Case 2, the core that needed half a second. In August 1945, at Los Alamos, New Mexico, the war had just entered the nuclear age, and scientists were studying a small plutonium sphere that was not a bomb yet, but was close enough to behave like one. The object later became known as the Demon Core. That same month, physicist Harry Daghlian was stacking tungsten carbide bricks around the core to reflect neutrons back into it. Each brick made the system more dangerous. One slip made it critical. Daghlian accidentally dropped a brick onto the assembly, triggering a burst of radiation. He removed it quickly, but the invisible damage was already done. He died 25 days later. Less than a year later, it happened again. Physicist Louis Slotin was demonstrating a criticality experiment using two beryllium hemispheres around the same kind of plutonium core. The only thing holding disaster open was a small gap and a screwdriver. The screwdriver slipped. For about half a second, the core went supercritical. A blue flash filled the room. Slotin knocked the top reflector away, likely saving others nearby, but he had taken the full force of the radiation. He died 9 days later. The terrifying part is how small the failure was. There was no dramatic countdown, no warning siren, no fireball blooming across the desert. Only a fraction of an inch changed, and the human body received the rest. Case 3. The machine that trusted software more than flesh. Between June 1985 and January 1987, in medical facilities across the United States and Canada, radiation therapy was becoming more computerized. That sounded like progress. A machine called Therac 25 was designed to treat cancer using powerful radiation beams with software controlling critical safety functions. Older machines had physical hardware interlocks, mechanical safeguards that could stop certain dangerous configurations. Therac 25 relied far more heavily on code. Between 1985 and 1987, several patients received massive radiation overdoses. Operators saw confusing error messages. The machine sometimes behaved as if nothing impossible had happened, but the impossible had already entered the room. A race condition, interface problems, and overconfidence in software allowed a healing machine to become a source of injury. This case is still studied because it changed the meaning of a software bug. A bug was no longer just a crash, no longer just a frozen screen. In the wrong system, a bug could pass through skin. It could enter the body. It could become fatal data. Case 4. The glass planet that forgot how to breathe. On September 26, 1991, near Oracle, Arizona, 8 people stepped through an airlock in the desert and sealed themselves inside Biosphere 2. It was meant to be a miniature Earth: rainforest, ocean, desert, farm, soil, insects, animals, atmosphere, all enclosed under glass. The dream was enormous. If humans could build a self-sustaining world here, maybe one day they could survive on another planet. But Earth is not a machine that obeys blueprints. Inside the sealed habitat, oxygen began falling. Food was difficult. Carbon dioxide swung unpredictably. Pollinators died. Some species collapsed, while ants and cockroaches thrived. The crew became tired, hungry, and divided. The system had too many hidden conversations. Microbes in soil, carbon dioxide in concrete, plants under reduced sunlight, humans breathing inside the experiment they were trying to control. Eventually, oxygen had to be added from outside. Biosphere 2 was not a useless failure. It taught real lessons. But the lesson was brutal. We do not live on Earth because Earth is simple. We live here because its complexity has not killed us yet. Some signals are not meant to be found. But you are still here. Case 5. The study that watched men die. In 1932, in Macon County, Alabama, the U.S. Public Health Service began a study involving hundreds of black men. Some experiments go wrong because a machine fails. Some go wrong because a calculation is bad. And some are wrong from the first sentence. The men were told they were being treated for bad blood. Many were not told the real purpose of the study. Many were not properly informed that they had syphilis. And when penicillin became the accepted treatment, the study continued. Treatment was withheld so researchers could observe the disease for 40 years. The Tuskegee study ended in 1972 after it was exposed publicly. Its legacy changed research ethics, informed consent, and public trust in medicine. But that language sounds too clean, because what really happened was simpler and darker. Men were turned into a timeline. Their suffering was treated as a data set. And the horror was not that the experiment lost control. The horror was that control was exactly what it had. Case 6. Reactor 4 and the test of control. At 1:23 a.m. on April 26, 1986, at Reactor 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Soviet Ukraine, operators began a safety test under conditions that were already drifting away from the plan. The test was supposed to answer a safety question. If external power failed, could the slowing turbine keep coolant pumps running long enough for backup diesel generators to take over? On paper, It was a test of control. In reality, it became a chain reaction of bad timing, unstable reactor conditions, violated procedures, and dangerous design flaws. Power dropped too low. Operators tried to recover it. The reactor became unstable. When the emergency shutdown was triggered, the final assumption broke. Instead of saving the system in time, the reactor surged. Steam explosions tore the reactor open. Radioactive material entered the sky. A safety test became the worst nuclear power plant accident in history. Chernobyl is often remembered as a disaster of arrogance. But it is also something more specific. It is what happens when a system is so complex that everyone understands one part of it, and no one fully controls the whole. So, what links all these experiments? The same force appears in every disaster: certainty. Every case had a sentence: someone believed too much. The baby will be fine. The core is under control. The software cannot do that. The ecosystem will balance itself. The subjects do not need to know. The reactor will survive the test. Science is powerful because it asks questions, but when the question becomes more important than the human being standing inside the answer, the experiment is already contaminated. And maybe the most terrifying discovery is this: the worst signal was never hidden in the universe, it came from us. Lost signal. Some warnings were never meant to be ignored.